Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, everyone. So we are Fathom Foresight. We are Canada's first knowledge as a service platform, which is actually focused on financial innovation and fintech market intelligence.
Great, yes, and we're going to get right into it. Thanks for coming. I know it's early in the morning, and we're really excited to be here, as Jeet said. We want to just say a big thank you to some of our clients. We've been in business since over a year, but we launched our product in January of this year, and so we're really thankful to have some of these companies and logos on this page really supporting us. And so the inspiration for today's message is something that I was reading as I was kind of putting together the outline of our presentation, and it's really, I think, if you can read it, this is a quote from Charles Dickens' The Tale of Two Cities. So, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times, and when you read all of the news out there about layoffs and fundings and companies that are not making it, companies that are doing really well, it can be a tale of two cities, and so I really wanted to sort of respect the fact that for some this is a challenging time, but this conference and last night, the message is all about how well FinTech is doing in Canada and what a great opportunity we have to win with FinTech innovation.
Definitely. So just to kind of echo the point that it is still a good time to be a fintech in Canada, let's walk you through some of the stats. And by the way, we are launching a full report right towards the end of the session. So look out for a QR code towards the end to get access to the full report. But let's kind of highlight and appreciate the fact that there are over 2,400 fintechs operating in Canada. And when I say operating, these are not just the fintechs founded in Canada, but the global players that are offering their services to Canadians. And in fact, 1/5 of the fintechs that are operating in Canada are actually from the US. So that's the kind of ecosystem that we have in Canada right now. And most of these fintechs are actually somewhere between micro and small businesses. So that is that they have less than 100 employees. But even then, they are hiring over 200K employees in Canada alone. So we can totally imagine the number is more than double when it comes to their global hirees. And as you can see, majority of them, which is surprising to some of our audiences, majority of them are actually out there servicing small businesses. So when you think of fintech products, usually they would think about the companies that are out there lending or offering investment apps, etc., to the consumers and retail consumers. But we do have a pretty vibrant ecosystem of companies that are offering services to small businesses. Apart from that, another thing to quickly highlight on this slide is that paytech continues to be the biggest sector in fintech, but we are seeing some new sectors pop up and start offer fintech or embedded finance products. So prop tech, health tech, energy tech, education tech, these are the companies that are now starting to enter fintech market and making the ecosystem even more competitive and vibrant. And with that, let's kind of see how fintech has done over the years through a quick comparison between 2018 and 2022.
Amazing, thank you. Jeet and I rehearsed this back and forth. No, I'm just kidding. So we wanted to kind of look back over the last 4 years. And in 2018, at the end of 2018, we did a report for Finance Canada on FinTech in Canada, and it was a benchmarking exercise. And so we had the data from then, and we compared it to today. And I think there's some really surprising little nuggets in here. The number of FinTechs has obviously grown significantly. We've seen, we had 995 that we had identified as either headquartered or operating in Canada, to now having over 2,400. And so as Jeet said, it's definitely becoming more competitive, even for the FinTechs themselves, to compete in the marketplace. We've also seen the regions grow. The number on this slide about sort of Ontario is pretty staggering, over 900 companies in Ontario. But it's actually dropped in terms of the percentage. So we're seeing other provinces really pick up and grow. We're actually going to be issuing an Atlantic FinTech report in the next little while, sort of my homeland. And they've really exploded. And so there's lots of really good things happening. We're also seeing some maturing of the FinTech companies in terms of their stage and size. So more that are sort of moving into expansion and later stage status. 267 acquisitions, like that's pretty awesome. And not that many closures, honestly. Like when you look at 165 businesses closing, since we've, frankly, when we actually started this number was, actually, I don't remember what it was. But there was some closures there when we actually did our end of 2018 report. And so here we are, really at a very small percentage of companies actually, closing up business.
It's actually pretty small considering other sectors and other startups in the ecosystem. So it is definitely a good time, right? All right. One of the reasons that why the fintech ecosystem is doing pretty good in Canada is that because banks have started to partner more with fintechs. And when I say partnerships, these are not back-end tech infrastructure kind of partnerships. These are actual customer-facing product innovation initiatives by banks and some of the big credit unions in the country. Just to highlight a few, you kind of see all the major partnerships on this slide here that these banks have done in the last few years. To give you an example, RBC partnered with Alliance Data to launch the first BNPL product by a bank in Canada called RBC Pay Plan. TD recently announced a partnership with DailyPay for on-demand payroll service, which is again a very popular product coming up wherein you can offer real-time payroll to your employees. Canadian Western Bank is another one that we should definitely highlight when it comes to partnering. They're building an entire ecosystem for small business owners, not just for their business needs, but also for their personal needs, entirely through partnership with fintechs. So that's kind of a really great example of how you should be approaching working with fintechs there. Some of the other ones have been BMO 1.0 for integration and sort of putting bookkeeping on autopilot, which considering a small business, we know how painful it is to sync your bank accounts and your accounting platform. So that's definitely a big one. The other thing is that with the anticipation of launch of open banking next year, we are definitely hoping that these partnership numbers will continue to rise. In fact, this year so far, just top 10 and top 10 banks and top 20 credit unions have made announcements of over 55 partnerships solely with the fintechs. I'm not even talking about beyond banking kind of partnerships. So that's the kind of momentum that we are seeing in the market, and definitely we are predicting it will continue to grow. And I'm not even covering the acquisitions that banks have made for fintechs under this. So that kind of shows why we are seeing all that market activity between banks and the fintechs.
And these are only publicly announced partnerships. So we can imagine that there's so many more, but that's our methodology. So we're going to sort of walk through 3 different ways to use fintech innovation to win. And this is about the technology companies and all the great startups that are helping financial institutions with their digital transformation, with account opening, with a number of different use cases. And so there are 800 of them, and that's a lot. Let's talk about sort of probably one of the most talked about segments, which is the fintechs like, and I'll put MasterCard in this category because it would have been Finicity as in terms of a logo, but obviously Finicity is part of MasterCard, and they have really tripled down in Canada on getting ready for open banking. and working with financial institutions to get them ready. Similarly, the other aggregators that you can see on there, I mean, at the end of the day, today, you could be ready for open banking with any one of those partners. They're all in a position to help, a financial institution exchange data via APIs, and frankly, even do it as a managed service for you. So, there is that opportunity to out there for the making already. We're also seeing a lot of interest in alternative data and using alternative data to improve a myriad of things. So, for instance, the small business that gets refused the loan from a bank because they only have a year's worth of financial performance. And maybe they don't get refused, but then they have to actually go and do a personal credit check and all those sort of great things, or not so great things. This is my second company, and we're just going through it all over again. And so I'll try and not get too angry up on stage, but or companies like Cap&Tel, another Atlantic company that is just doing, amazing things in the wealth space with sales and marketing, improving that whole experience, insurance, helping brokers and dealers automate their distribution. Like, there's just so many examples here of great companies. And we've only put, obviously just a few logos up here. All of these companies up here are doing really well, 50-ish plus employees and more. And so, yeah, lots of great strengths in this segment.
Awesome. A great segue into the SME woes or the issues that SMEs are facing in Canada right now. So if you attended the last night's dinner, it was a really nice talk with the Shopify president, kind of highlighting that none of these small business owners are looking to excel at non-core activities, right? So nobody says, I have great HR or I have great payroll system, whatever. They really want somebody to take care of all that so they can really focus on the business that they're actually passionate about and have started. And when it comes to kind of the options that SMEs have right now, there aren't many as of date, and especially when it comes to what our banks are offering to us at this point. Just to give a kind of a real life example, Sue was talking about kind of our business. Right now, we pay just $5 to a bank for our banking services, but we pay over $2,000 to our HR provider, to payroll provider, accounting, bookkeeping, you name it. And that's the kind of lost opportunity for our bank. Like, if my bank could provide all those services, I'll be happy to pay probably $2,500 even if they can integrate it. There's a seamless experience. I just have a single platform where I can see all of that. That's the kind of heaven for SMEs that we should aim for. So over here, we have an illustration of how bank platform could be like to offer the choice, the integrated app experience, and access to different kind of benefits through a marketplace. And it is an illustration for us, but there are actually banks in UK, in Asia, that are already doing this. So they offer you this entire marketplace of integrated apps for accounting, for HR, for group benefits, you kind of name it, building your website, sales, marketing, everything. So, and it is integrated. So it's not that you're signing up with these 7 different platforms. Each of these apps is well integrated into your online banking platform. So that's the kind of thing that the financial institutions should aim for. Because if you don't, it's only a matter of time that my accounting provider or my payments provider launches a bank or a credit card and deposit account, and I transition. And it's not even future. Like Shopify has already launched Shopify Balance, QuickBooks has QuickBooks Cash, and it's only a matter of time that SMEs start sort of migrating fully. So that's the kind of space that we are living in right now, and the kind of competition that banks have, and also an opportunity to partner because we have this vibrant ecosystem. So why not integrate these apps and offer great experiences to your small business owner clients?
Can I just say one thing on that slide?
For sure.
So I met the CEO of FundThrough at CIX last week, and he I was emceeing a rocket pitch, and he talked about his company, almost $40 million in annual revenue. Like, I found that amazing. Like, so it's a company that's been around since 2014, integrated in the Intuit marketplace. Like, that's a really cool story. And I mean, unfortunately, I think a lot of his revenue is coming from the US, but which is often the narrative with a lot of fintechs. They reach the point where they can't grow anymore in Canada because they can't get access to the market. But I just thought I would leave that with you guys. Like, here's a fintech that is 40 million in revenue. It's pretty astonishing. Okay, so the inspiration for this might be a little bit out there, but this is sort of the consumer experience. And so whereas the last slide, we kind of looked at banks like Starling and TSB and a few others who are already doing marketplaces. This is actually modeled after, does anybody know who Corner Shop is? One. Only one. Two. Okay. So Corner Shop is a company that Uber bought. And in the pandemic, I found them because my Loblaws app told me that I'd have to wait like 18 days for milk, and that wasn't going to work. So I found Corner Shop, and I'm hooked. And now, just like Instacart and others, that's where I do most of my shopping. And so it's a really great experience. And so this is kind of imagining, like, what if a bank offered me that experience? And obviously there's lots of different products on here. Help me manage my home renovations, help me, Ever, brand new challenger bank just launching in Canada, help me improve my credit score, et cetera, et cetera. And one thing I just want to say really quickly is, down at the bottom, I put a few things. Like, I was kind of imagining sitting on the couch with my iPad. Here's all the stuff that I can connect and integrate in my banking experience. Wouldn't it be awesome if my bank actually offered that? But I also have elder care. So I have two parents who both have had cancer this year. Spent 4 months of my year in Lunenburg, Nova Scotia, which, if you've ever been, is unbelievably beautiful. I kind of almost moved there. But there's nothing for me as a 54-year-old, to help them manage their care. And I think that's a whole other segment that really has to start, sort of emerging. There's 14 million people in Canada aged 65 and older. And then there's another 14 or 15 million in the workplace actually employed, right? And so you've got this huge population that's going to have to look after this huge population. And I know I'm taking too much time, Jeet, but I was so passionate about it because it's something so simple, and I was totally not prepared.
Yeah. Also, just to add to that, it's also a super app concept. So you would know about Alipay, WeChat Pay, Paytm. I moved to 2018 from India, was very used to kind of scanning QR codes through Paytm for buying like everything and anything, even from like a street vendor. And we are sitting in 2022, still no super app in Canada. So that's a huge white space gaping out there, up for grabs. And we are not saying it has to be a fintech. It could be a bank really doing and going out there. But it is definitely one thing that's still missing in our country. Okay, as a final thought, you've seen the ecosystem is vibrant. You have all these amazing players, and we are seeing partnership. But with open banking just about the brink now, I think it's a great time to choose your path. Do you want to be a platform and offer anything and everything that your clients would need? Or you want to make a really good product and create a stickiness through that? But whatever it is, I think this is the best time to go for it, because the competition, when we kind of look at the financial industry, it's not just from fintechs anymore. We have tech giants launching fintech products left, right, center. So Apple has already kind of announced their lending product and buy now, pay later product. Amazon, I don't know for how long we have been saying, when will Amazon launch Amazon Bank? It's starting already. They've launched the Amazon Wallet for the merchants in Canada even. So it's already happening and out there. Or even some of the kind of more commonly used brands like Dollarama and TikTok, for example, like what if TikTok starts integrating investing app and starts offering banking accounts, etc., which is kind of happening right now. Influencers really changing the narrative on social media platforms for banking. So that's the kind of ecosystem. But there's a silver lining for banks over there. And I'm trying to rush looking at the clock here, Sue.
No worries.
The silver lining is that none of these companies want to be banks. They just want to offer easy and simple banking solutions to their existing client base. And that's where the new opportunity for banks is for banking as a service. And really being these issuers and sponsors for these fintechs, tech giants, telco players, social media platforms, retailers, and be the bank behind the amazing sort of customer-facing offering that they want to offer. And if you're interested in that, we even have fintechs who will help you launch BaaS product. So that's kind of I would say, again, vibrancy of the ecosystem, that we have fintech for anything and everything that you would want to do. And you should be doing that and kind of winning with those sort of partnerships. And with that, yeah. So hopefully our job today was to help you maybe have a few ideas, a few takeaways on how you can, work with FinTech, how FinTechs can work with financial institutions. So there's 2,400 opportunities, and the opportunity is really all about growth, and obviously, all sorts of technological improvement and transformation. And I thought this was an appropriate quote from Indra Nooyi, who is the former CEO of Pepsi. The challenge of a leader is looking around the corner, making the change before it's too late to make the change. And so not only is she a fantastic woman with a family, with an amazing career, but a really impactful statement. And with that, as promised, we're launching the Canadian FinTech 2022 report right here. Scan the QR code. We'll be around for next 2 days. So if anybody wants to kind of chat with us, we'll be here. And thank you so much. And thanks for being a great audience.
Thank you.